Alright, so here it is. Part 2 of what happens at the end of the Endtimes for the Legendary Lords of Warhammer 2 Total War. Plus Norsca, because the DLC came out out of nowhere before I made part 1. Alright, let's get started. One thing that has to be understood is that the Endtimes is confusing as shit. And the storyline gets reconned a lot. Or reconned to whatever the fuck that... Anyway. So a lot of some things I may say have been changed or are different from a version other people have read. It's a big fat mess, and that's why I've come here. If you haven't seen part 1, I highly recommend it. Everyone seemed to like it that watched it, so it's encouraged me to come out and do part 2. Links will be in the description, and don't forget to like, comment, and sub if you really enjoyed this video, because it really helps me out. I put a lot of effort into researching this stuff, because I haven't actually read the books as a hobby. This is all like me going through sources and checking shit, and you know, like, I'd rather be doing stuff like actually playing the game Warhammer 2 instead of reading about it, but it's actually quite a lot of fun reading into it. Anyway, if you disagree with anything I say, feel free to post it in the comments below. I read all comments and I will sort it off. Let's get into it. Starting off with the hairy OP fuckers in the north, Norsca, aka the mammoths, because all you need is 3 mammoths in your army and you can't lose a battle. The most badass ginger of the old world, Wulfric the Wanderer, wandered down south from Norsca and engaged in a shitload of duels, winning them all and killing many powerful warriors on both sides of the conflict. Cause you know, why not? He finally bit off a bit more than he could chew when he dueled with Vultan, who was like this Sigma kind of bloke, but not really. It's confusing. Anyways, despite a good punch on, Vultan eventually beat him to death with his hammer. I think he actually exploded his head with his hammer. I'm not entirely sure, I wasn't there. Don't feel bad, Wulfric, though. The hammer dude went and dueled Archaon later on, so he's not some kind of run-of-the-mill Gendry kind of dude. Moving on. As ugly as he was smart, Throg the Troll King probably has one of my favourite times during the Endtimes. He leads a gigantic army of monsters to assist the Chaos effort in ruining the world. But he kinda isn't a fan of Sigvald the Magnificent. Maybe he was jealous, or maybe he just didn't like the arrogant, fabulous cannibal who rapes everyone. But during the final battle of Middenheim, he was like, fuck you, and bashed Sigvald's head in with his massive club. He then pisses on Sigvald's mangled corpse, probably ruined poor Sigvald's ego with that one, eh? Anyways, after finishing up his leak, Nagash was like, fuck you man, you're nasty as, and stabs him to death with some pimped up Nagash blade thing. You know, rip Throg, you'll be missed. Alright, now that's out of the way, we can move on to Warhammer 2, let's do this. Dedicated to the writers of the Endtimes, who were probably high when they wrote the Endtimes, we'll start with the High Elves. Tyrion. The cool guy who would do anything for his people, and had lots of approved and consensual sex, became a total dick due to the good old curse of Anarion. When the daemons of Chaos invaded Ulthuan, he got pretty pissed off and ruthlessly fights them off, often charging the demons ahead of the rest of his army. After cupping a few scratches, he decides he eventually wants to take Widowmaker, the sword that originally cursed his bloodline, and he wants to take it for himself and use it to kill everyone he isn't a fan of. Fair enough. Despite Malekith and Teclis teaming up to try and stop him, good old Tyrion gets his hands on it and proceeds to brutally defeat Malekith in a duel, as not only has he taken up the sword, but he accidentally merged his soul with that of the elven god of war, Cain. You know, the one that everyone's frothing about when they kill people. The now god-formed Tyrion does a bunch of god of war shit, like killing Orion, until the Shadow King pops in with a good shot of his bow, killing Tyrion and Cain. But wait, there's more. Teclis and a bunch of other characters become demigods, or incarnates, and Teclis revives Tyrion. Tyrion is now a good bloke again, yay, because he isn't possessed by a massive dickhead of a god, Cain. Woohoo! Tyrion joins in on the final battle of Middenheim, killing tons of chaos and also killing Manfred. When the world is finally doomed, he pops open a cold one with old mate Malekith and Ariel, that wood elf chick that, you know, ate Isha, whatever, and talks about their feelings, and they play spin the bottle together and all that good stuff. And then eventually, as as Tyrion's about to like get the bottle to land on Ariel and him so he can finally kiss her, the world ends and burns him away into death and insanity. His soul is saved by either Sigma or Teclis or something, and he is revived in Sigmar's new world. This time though, he's a little bit blind and guided by his brother Teclis. Oh, and he isn't cursed anymore. Yay! He's probably getting some more consensual sex from being a good bloke and also being blind. Moving on to Teclis. The crippled but probably stronger brother is revealed to be a master manipulator, yes, and part-time dickhead. Knowing the world is pretty fucked, Teclis is like, nah fam, I can do this. So he lets Manfred kidnap his niece / Tyrion's daughter because he knew this is complicated, so listen to this one. He knew he needed Nagash to help him save the world because Nagash was so powerful. He also knew that Nagash wasn't allowed to be too powerful, otherwise he would challenge the Chaos God straight away and get wrecked. So he needed Nagash to be revived using Tyrion's daughter, who had the bloodline of Anarion, who in turn had the curse of Anarion, so Nagash would inherit the curse of Anarion, so then Nagash would be weak, as Manfred sometimes said during Warhammer Total War 1. Teclis becomes super duper juiced up with the winds of magic when he undoes the vortex, good one Teclis, and sinks Ulthuan, good one Teclis, killing a lot of high elves, good one Teclis. He then works with Balthazar Gelt in the final battle to try and cast a crazy powerful spell which would have saved the world. However, Manfred, I've covered this in my last video, Manfred, you're a little bitch, you're a little fucking bitch, fuck you, no one likes you, betrays them and kills Gelt. All of Gelt's power is absorbed by Teclis, who's like, nah, I got this, you know. Gelt was just like, I just kind of liked his personality, didn't need his power. Next minute, Teclis believes he can control it, but next minute, I said that twice, sorry, it was in the script, but, you know, it's all too much for Teclis, and he explodes and instantly dies, triggering the rapid destruction of the world. Teclis is alive in Sigmar's new world and guides his rebellious blind bro Tyrion on their quest to hit up some quality bars and babes. Or I don't know, maybe they go off and capture Slaanesh or something. Right, moving on to the whitest black people in Warhammer Old World Fantasy, the Dark Elves. You know, I always wondered why Dark Elves were dark, and I found out for two reasons. A, they came from a part of Ulthuan that the dark-haired elves came from, so, you know, dark hair, you know, that defines your race. And Nagaron really doesn't get much sunlight, surprisingly, so they are a bit pale over there. Anyways, Endtime kicks off, Teclis helps Malekith kill the King of the High Elves, poor Finubar. Or is that how you spell it? I'm just going to say it like that. Because Finubar is depressed and shit, and then demons invade Nagaron, and Dark Elves are a bunch of dumbasses, and instead of banding together, they just ditch each other and most of them die. Malekith is like a lol seer, and decides that instead of uniting against the demon invasion, it'd be funny to invade Ulthuan with the remaining Dark Elves. He has a chat to Teclis, and Teclis is like, yo man, I know we aren't really close mates, but I think you should be the Phoenix King and lead all the elves. And Malekith is like, you know what, despite murdering and raping people in my entire life, I think I am worthy of being the king of all elves. Cheers, bruv. So yeah, that happens. Malekith then gets his ass beat by Cain / Tyrion, and gets all emo about it. He eventually gets over it and becomes the good guy, but he gets kind of annoyed because he finds out that when he walked into the flames of Asuryan, those flames that burnt him really bad, sorry, ugh, my juice, originally, and started that massive Dark Elf vs High Elf war, all he needed to do was stay in the fire for a few more seconds and bam, he would not have only been king of all elves, but he would have also been a demigod and wouldn't need magic armor melted into his flesh. Anyways, final battle happens, doesn't go so well, and then a building collapses on Malekith and his babe. But because he's a good guy now, he saves his babe and gets both his leg crushed. Anyway, he sips on a few beers and listens to tunes of Tyrion and babe until the world ends, and he ends as well. He reappears in Sigmar's new world, but he's like a shadow creature who's merged with his black female dragon into a new being, and what a surprise, he's a dick again. Not going to cover his home mum much though, Morathi. Basically, she ruins her relo with Malekith, goodbye mother-son incest, and tries to fuck around with the vortex a bit. But when Teclis undoes the vortex, she kinda gets sucked into it, and ends up sitting next to Slaanesh. Because she's a dumb hoe, she insults him, so naturally he imprisons her in his realm, where she probably gets tortured and touched inappropriately on the daily basis. But hey, she has a nice big pair of juicy, round, succulent personalities, so it's fine. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you a lot of your favorites. They're scaly, they're old, they're dinosaurs that ride bigger dinosaurs. I give you the Lizardmen. First up is obviously Masa Mundi. Like, who else? Duh. This guy was so powerful. Like, and I mean really powerful. If the Skaven didn't fucking nuke the Chaos Moon and cause the moon to fucking fall onto the old world, then he could have single-handedly drove the Skaven to extinction using the powers of the geomantic web. You heard correct. The Skaven blew up the fucking moon. Even the Chaos Demons were like, what the fuck, Skaven? That's too far, okay? Like, chill the fuck out. So Masa Mundi, being the great bloke he is, decides, hey, I could either get all my people out of here and watch the world get crushed by an exploded moon, or I could harden the fuck up and deal with this. So he proceeds to destroy like 90% of the exploded moon using psychic invisible bullets before it hits the world. The effort, however, causes diabetes from all the sitting down he does to catch up with him, causing his heart to explode and to die. However, his sacrifice allowed the Incarnates and remaining heroes and their armies to face chaos in the final fatal battle. The Southlands and Lustria were not so lucky, however, and the remaining 10% of the moon that he wasn't able to destroy landed there, pretty much destroying everything, and killing all factions in the Southland and Lustria. Ugh. Kroger, easily the biggest badass of Warhammer 2. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing any names wrong, like I'm Australian, we're pretty retarded sometimes. But, you know, biggest badass of Warhammer 2 goes around killing a fuck ton of Skaven left, right, and center atop his massive pimp-ass Carnosaur Grimlock. During a battle with Clan Pestilence, fucking Lord Skrulk, that diseased fuckstain, melts Grimlock with a plague. May Grimlock rest in peace. Then Kroger, out of nowhere, kills the shit out of Lord Skrulk. Haha. Anyways, moon blows up and things aren't looking good for old Krog until he gets ordered to one of the spaceships that the Lizardmen are preparing in case of such a doomsday event like this one. It's not known whether or not he actually made it to the ship, so I'm gonna have two endings for him and you guys can pick which one. Ending A. He makes it to the spaceship and flies away, happily killing space rats and forever. Or ending 2. He doesn't make it in time, so he decides to take on an entire Skaven army by himself, killing millions, that's right, millions, before the moon shards land on top of him. That is, until he throws them all back into the sky with how much of a man he is, and then he kills all 3 Chaos Gods with one roar. Okay, maybe not, but it would still probably would have been a better ending than the one we got, to be honest. Now to everyone's favorite diseased rats, the Skaven. So basically the Skaven did 90% of the damage in the end times. Like legit, if Skaven didn't exist, or if they fought with the old world armies, Chaos would have had no chance at all. The only reason why they hadn't conquered the world already is because they were constantly fighting each other. Then their horned rat dude showed up and he's told them all to stop being a bunch of fucking retards and made them work together. They basically destroyed the Lizardmen, all the southern kingdoms, and also killed tons of dwarves and greenskins. Alright, moving on to Queek Headtaker. Queek Headtaker took a lot of heads in his time, including Belagar Ironhammers. He was a pain in the ass to a lot of dwarves, as that's where his attention was mostly placed. I don't actually have a lot of detail on him, so if people could share their knowledge in the comments, I'd be most grateful. But I do know that at some point he went toe-to-toe with Thorgrim and got his neck snapped with one of Thorgrim's mighty hands. Ironic in a way that the creature who took heads had his own head popped. Lord Skrog walked around like the diseased, cancerous fuckhead he was until Krogar killed him. Some Verminlord bitch though revived him, so I think he actually ascended to the pantheon of the Rat Lords, with the Horned Rat, maybe, I don't know. Most if all not of his Clan Pestilence, were wiped out when the shards of the moon the Skaven blew up landed in Lustria. Maybe should have sent like a text message around to all your Skaven buddies being like, hey guys, blowing up the moon at 3 PM. Like, or, you know, like if a school shooter likes someone in the class, they can be like, don't come to school today. Like, or they could be like, don't go to Lustria in the next week because we've got this nuke aimed at the moon and we're not scientists. Well, we are because we built a fucking rocket that blows up moons. But like you might not want to be where it's gonna land, and it's gonna land everywhere. So, you know, I mean, if the Skaven who fired the rocket, like if I knew him, I probably would have blocked him on Facebook and sent. Maybe I would have posted, been like, you know what, guys, like true friends don't do that. You know, true friends warn each other when they're blowing up planets. Like, imagine seeing the moon blow up on a snap story instead of a direct snap to. You'd have to. Oh man, that would kill me. That would break my heart. And we have done it. We have covered Warhammer 2 Total War and the Norsca DLC. We now know what happened to every single legendary lord in the game. How fucking sweet is that? Oh, and in case anyone was wondering what happened to Krell, because he's kind of like a legendary hero or whatever, Krell basically lost the fist fight to Sigvald. So, yeah, not an exciting ending. If it was something more badass, I would have assigned something to it. But anyway, there you go. That's hours or days of reading shit compressed into 2 YouTube videos. And I hope my style was, like, I know it's like a bit inappropriate, but I hope you guys enjoyed it. It's the way I like to, like, deliver my stuff. I don't usually do scripted work. Most of my stuff's improvised or done in the moment, but I actually did script most of this. Not this part, obviously, but yeah, the actual story itself. If you enjoyed it, please like, comment, and subscribe. If this video gets the same amount of love, or maybe even more love than part 1, then I'll wait for all the legendary lords and DLC to come out, and then I'll make another like bonus one for all the extra guys. I don't know any other person who makes these short videos like that ties the lore in with the actual game, with the legendary lords. But if there is, obviously they probably wouldn't do it like I do. But anyway, guys, if you enjoyed the video, like, comment, and subscribe. The more love I get, the more motivated I get, basically. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, giving me your time, giving me your ad revenue, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.